All right, guys, what's up? So we're gonna do a little podcast thingy. We're just gonna talk. I've got some questions written down here. So Billy, want to introduce yourself real quick?
Hey, what's up, guys? I'm Billy Clark. I am a black belt here at Ohana at the West Academy, and man, love doing what I do. I've run the gym 7 a.m. and then in the afternoons with the kiddos, and in the evenings we both hold it down together. So it's always fun with Jonathan. It's been a great journey so far. What, like a year and a half?
Yeah, been a year and a half now. Yep.
Great. It's been great so far.
Heck yeah. Hat set. No, I'm just kidding.
And we're done.
Yeah, Social Security number. No, okay. All right, so let's jump right into it. So, if there could only be, I asked this to a lot of fucking people. If there could only be one sub you could do for the rest of your life, what sub would it be?
If there could only be one sub?
Yep, one sub. Like you could only do the one.
I'd have to say, given that I try to get to the back as much as I do, with the probability I'd probably go for the bow and arrow. I like it, and I think it has a lot of control. And if that was the only sub I can do, I can't transition to an armbar after, but I can always retake the back and then work on trying to go for another bow and arrow again. So attacking the back, failing, losing position, there's all these barriers before you end up in danger. So I like getting on the back, and then I think the bow and arrow puts a lot of leverage on your opponent if it's set up right.
So you'd say rear naked also, so for the gi then, or for no gi, my bad. For no gi, you'd say rear naked choke then?
Yeah, for no gi, I'd probably say like rear naked choke. Yep. Like if I do end up where I trap like the arm, maybe the triangle off the back, but I'm more than likely trying to stay on chest to back.
I don't remember, I think statistically it's the highest at every single, other than kids. I think kids is different. I think kids might hit triangles or arm bars more. I'm not sure, but I'm pretty sure at every single level of adult, the rear naked or choke off the back on its own is the highest percentage for everything. So It's funny, I was never good at that, and still in competition, like I've only gotten like 3 or 4 chokes off the back because I was such a triangle and Kimura heavy person. So It's funny that that's what my answer should be. and I feel like that's not the answer that I would give. I know when I asked my coach's coach, Master Hanato Tavares, he said wrist lock, and I was like, what? I was like eating a burger. I was like, what? Like, I was like, what the fuck? Like wrist lock. I was like, what if they don't tap? And he's like, everyone taps.
Everybody
I was like,
taps.
geez. And he was like, well, because he can do it from everywhere. And well, because his thing was like positional dominance. So like, he was like, yeah, I'll use it to force positional. If I'm in closed guard and you're pushing on my waist, I'll use it to force chest to chest. So he's like, so if nothing else, I have positional dominance, which is why he would choose it. And I was like, damn, that's a fucking, I'm not that smart. So
that makes sense.
I wouldn't use it like that because I'm not that advanced, I guess. But no, I just thought it was interesting.
That is like, cause you can get a wrist lock from side control. You can get wrist locks anywhere. You can be on the person's back. They could be on your back. If you're savvy enough, right? You can really get wrist locks from a lot of spots. So it doesn't require a position, but whenever the person reacts to it, that does help you out with your positional. That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, it does, right? Yeah. I think when I heard it too, I think I was still a brown belt. And I was like, by the way, I'm a black belt. I don't know if my name's Jonathan Timberlake. I know I didn't do my intro, but yeah, tell us about yourself. My name's Jonathan Timberlake. I'm a black belt. Yeah, I've been with Billy for like a year and a half now.
On the mat.
On the mat. This is my partner.
Rolling partner.
Rolling partner. He's my boy. He's my friend.
Rolling partner.
He's my boyfriend.
When we're in class.
Oh, God. But anyways, yeah, I was still a brown belt at the time, and I was just thinking like, that was around the time when I started wrist locking people too. I was like, I'm a high enough rank now. I think it's time to start being an asshole. But it was funny hearing it from somebody who's, I'm getting the number wrong. At the time, he'd been training for like 47 years. And he was like, yeah, so he was like, so hearing it from someone like that, it was an interesting little thing. I was like, damn, dude, like just to use it for like positional dominance and like, because he can do it from mount, from back, from closed guard. He just liked I guess the super utility of it.
For sure. I've been in situations trying to shrimp out a side control, and then my guy hip switches, and I'm like, oh, that ain't it. Like, I gotta like, and then they fall in side control, like, damn, that was, like, I don't think they even meant to do that. Like, just a hip switch trying to pass the frames, but that wrist lock is there. And then my wife, Alyssa, did it to me one time. I was just like, I was like slap hands, bump fist, not trying to win worlds with her, but she definitely was. She was like, she had a chip on her shoulder. I don't know what it was that day, but she passed a guard and belly flopped on my hands, and I was like, "Aye!" like it was rough. So it was not intentional, but it was a good aggression. It was good aggression.
So I think to this day, my wrist, it still hurts to do push-ups because of how many times, because everyone, for the most part, I'm framing on my right side because everyone passes on their left. Like I do, I'm same, I pass on my left. The amount of times that I've been wrist locked from putting my hand, even if they didn't mean it, just some fat dude like laid on me or whatever.
Right.
So, no, it's interesting though.
That roly-poly approach, like just to hip switch and turn, like creating that hip switch, like man, that goes a long way. Like it really makes you super effective. I'm pretty sure that's what you were talking about, your old master, like just turning the hips and making the person just get their frames off and just fall on them.
Cool. So, no, it's funny. What are your thoughts on the ecological training? And if you don't know, I'll explain it to you. But what are your thoughts on the ecological approach thing, the new wave of stuff that's happening?
I think you have to already understand jiu-jitsu. So then like if you just start training like exercises and then you skip out on fundamentals, if something works, it will work up to a certain level. So if you're a kid and you're just like throwing people down, then all right, like we're gonna just do takedowns a day and that's just gonna be how you learn it. But if you don't understand like the processes of like the movement, when to apply it, like what to look out for, just trying to find it in real-time moments and game time situations, it might work, but I can't imagine like the effectiveness of everybody connecting from beginning to end and making their game technical if it's like only starting from the beginning ecological jiu-jitsu. I believe we have to have an understanding of why you want to get full guard, like what's the whole point of shrimping, and when to hip escape, when to maybe even scoot under the person, right? So understanding like timing is going to go a long way with the technique behind it, but there is only so much of that to where you are going to have to eventually put it to the test. So ecological jiu-jitsu is not something I would just like start off with and just make it a curriculum. I definitely want some understanding of what it is that I'm trying to do, like a philosophy behind it, so then you can end up doing ecological jiu-jitsu because the philosophy that you learn can carry from different techniques, from different positions, and just different movements, right? Different subs. So I like ecological jiu-jitsu, but not in the sense of like, hey guys, like welcome to class today, a bunch of white belts and blue belts, and like we're gonna go ahead and try this move. You guys haven't seen it, we're doing it, and we're just gonna try it from this position. Let's drill, right? Is that kind of
because it's like it's like restraint-based games.
Yes.
Where, and I know Shanji came out with, I think Shanji Hiberio, and he was like, guys, like this isn't new. They're just putting it, like they're flipping it on its head. Like we've been doing it. It's called positionals.
Yes.
Where you intentionally start. You start from the spider web, where the goal is to finish the arm. Where you start from top man, you start from back, you start from standing, you start from here, or you start with grips, you start without grip. And he's like, we've always done this. I think the concept behind it was like, how much would if we brought in two brand new people and me and you ran separate classes, and in one class we taught like a certain pass, and then in the other class we gave them like a game where it was like a guard passing game, and it's like when you teach the one class a pass, if they drilled for 45 minutes, like because they're not used to the resistance, they would fuck it up.
Yeah.
But because the other group is fighting with resistance the whole time, even if you didn't give them the technique, just because they're fighting with the resistance, they're going to be more used to it.
Yeah.
So I think, I think it was like, the concept was like getting out of the static drill. My main thing was, I think it helps, and you have to do some type of positional work, like you just have to. But I don't understand how they teach submissions if they don't drill.
Yeah, exactly.
That part, like, and then the other part, and I said this the other day, was like, technically, like if I go pay for a private with Professor Jason or something, like, I'm paying for the person's expertise, like. Otherwise, you could just go always spar with your friends, and you would never and you would just be infinitely better at jiu-jitsu. But like you've got to pay for expertise from their wisdom, their experience. So I don't know. That's always how I've looked at it. Was like I'm paying for the experiences of that person and their wisdom. Otherwise, anyone could just go into YouTube and just like YouTube the basic version of how to do like an arm bar or a triangle, and then everyone would be able to do it every time. And it's like it doesn't work like that. Like you have to.
Yeah.
learn the little nitty gritty.
Right.
Shit. So.
And then there's always holes that can be like never addressed. You know, like you still can make progress, but like a kid that has to learn ride a bike on his own and just goes through the trial and error versus somebody that's like helping him balance, try to keep your core straight, try to balance a little bit, you know, and then help them along the way. I do believe like giving some kind of structure along with like the test helps, but it's just like just testing. Then it's gonna be.
Yeah. Fucking dying. That's too funny.
But yeah, that pretty much covers that. With just like, you know, you make progress no matter what, but one of them is going to be eventually rough around the edges. But I would say argue maybe even just as game. I don't know, maybe in time, who knows? But yeah, learning a technique and then never testing it, that does still nerf your game.
Yeah.
I was gonna say that's Gracie Garage stuff, but I don't want to knock Gracie Garage because I've never done it. But that's pretty much like trying to learn jiu-jitsu and where there's a layer, you know. So
yeah, I agree. When did you realize you were gay?
Well, I never thought about it.
When I learned how to pull guard.
That's the question. Once I had my hernia and decided I had to pull guard.
What do you think the worst or most hated submission is in jiu-jitsu for you? It's like worst sub or the most hated sub?
The worst submission. Legal submission?
Yeah, legal.
The worst legal submission. The worst legal submission, man, I don't think it's like the worst because it's malice, but I do feel like attacking the heel hook. It's just man, messing with the knees and then knowing like the recovery process behind it. I don't hate the heel hook, but every time I get the heel hook, like and I've had people talk about it. There like that one guy that came a couple months back, and that was a leg locker, right?
Yep.
You have to have like that intent if you really want to compete, and you have to be okay with like getting it right, because people are going to do that against you. So I don't mind like a rear naked choke or like stretching out the arm, or even like maybe even a knee bar, right? A toe hold. All that stuff kind of has like some uncomfortableness to it, and you're like, I don't want to feel this anymore. But like with the heel hook, you're like, I'm just gonna try to twist one more time.
Yeah.
Then you know you got your.
I got that. No, that makes sense. Yeah, I was curious to see how you were gonna, I guess which way you were gonna take the worst.
Yeah.
Because in my mind, when I first thought of the question, I was like, bro, because I know what I would say. Fuck the Americana, bro. No one's tapping me with that. No, I'm not gonna tap to it, dude. You're gonna have to break it, because I just feel like a bitch whenever it's getting done to me.
Yes.
And it's so easy to escape. So like in that sense, I hate it. But no, yeah. Like you went for like the damaging one, the one that like physically.
Ego?
Yeah.
You got me, bro. You got me.
You got it, bro. It's chill. We're chill.
Can you take
bro.
me to the hospital?
Yeah.
Yeah. We had an old homie, Corey. Shout out to Corey. I hope he listens to this. But he used to be one of our guys that was training here, and the dude would rip Kimuras like crazy. He was good at it. And one of the first times we rolled, I was trying to pass his guard. I was in half guard, and grabbed onto my belt because he had the key lock, and I didn't have my belt good enough, so I let go to grab it better, and he ripped it, and that messed with my shoulder for a long time. He was very apologetic about it, and I just kept telling him, like, I'm not mad, I'm just gonna keep reminding you because I'm gonna pay you back. So yeah, I know exactly how you feel. It attacks the ego a little bit, but yeah, shout out to Corey because that's happened, and he's messed with a couple of shoulders, but the guy is game. I got a question for you.
Yeah.
How do you feel about people that train competitive or like high intensity on the training mat?
So I've had a lot of people talk about this, and I feel like this is me coming at it from like the perspective of somebody that's really big, because I've had like smaller people talk to me about this, and I always tell people like, if you want to go high intensity, whatever the intensity is, I'll match. I'm also a 200 and almost 40-pound black belt, so, and I'm young, so I can just keep up with people. Even if I get my ass kicked, I can keep up the intensity regardless. So if if the Hulk comes in here and then there's like a day one girl, the intensity. Yeah, we always have to be super fucking careful about that. I love going super hard, but obviously I don't think most people have the like the technical capabilities to go hard and keep the other person safe, which is, I mean, we're even seeing that with a couple of our guys at nighttime. We're like, they're getting good at going hard, and we're like, bro, like, relax, like, chill. You're like, you're fighting. That person has Down syndrome. What are you doing? Like, no, but like they're just going too hard with people that obviously aren't on the same level as them. So it's just
stop! You're already killing him. He's already dead.
We just turn around and we're like, oh my god. Like, so.
Yeah, man. I think with whenever it comes to like knowing your opponent, knowing your teammate, right? That's going to be super important. And it's crazy how, it doesn't matter the frame, it doesn't matter the rank. Some people will be like, yo, you're trying too hard, or some people are just game, right? And I really enjoy those guys that are game and that know how to like tone it down. It's just you get to prolong relationships, but I do really appreciate like the guys that are down for whatever. You're willing to train a little bit light. I like how we could like move, like we take turns and moves, like chess kind of,
the
right?
Jitsu chess thing that we play.
That's always fun, but like having like teammates that can trust different levels of like intensity goes a super long way,
Yeah, no, I totally agree. Do you think there's like a best like guard for MMA?
Ooh, the best guard for MMA?
Yeah. Because there's obviously like rubber guard, the open guards, like whatever it may be. Do you think there's like one of them that's the best?
I would say open guard. I would say an active guard is probably the best. Keeping the person away. So if I can keep the person on my feet, I can eventually like make space and work on trying to get up. If they insist on coming back, turn into like some arm drags. But trying to keep like the space so whenever they try to punch, it's very awkward for them in MMA. That worked out for me for a very long time. It worked. My jiu-jitsu helped me out for 4 matches in MMA. But Kevin Holland, whenever I fought him, and he was like 6'3", I tried to like get him off me. He had me against a cage, and like my leg extended, like he was like punching me, like, and I was like, if I try to get up, he's gonna jump on me, and I can't stop pushing him away. And then the referee came, and I was like, yeah, that was fair. I like sat up. He was like, you okay? I'm like, my ego hurts, but like I'm all right. So yeah. And then Kevin Holland was like, you got the hardest fucking head at 170 pounds. Like, you don't have to make a compliment. Thank
After
you.
you get your ass beat, Kevin Holland said I'm hard.
One of the hardest there is, hard-headed.
Let me get it tattooed on me.
With Trailblazer signature on it.
That's so funny. Yeah, no, I know, like, obviously, like, Eddie Bravo, like, he established the whole rubber guard thing for, like, posture control from closed guard.
Yeah.
And there's been a couple people that have done it in MMA, like, semi-successfully. And I know he talked about stuff like his, like, lockdown game and how, like, unless he was already, like, winning the underhook, he would never play the lockdown because, even though that's like what he's famous for, because then he would just lock him down and then they would just back up and then just start fucking swinging. Yeah. So unless you already had the underhook and your ears like glued to their hip type of thing. So yeah, I was just curious if you were just gonna be like, oh, dude, De La Hiva, like.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Who was it the other day? It was in what is it, Zane doing Spider Guard and Nogi?
Oh yeah, bro, he was doing it at the fucking tournament, the Battle of the Grapplers. Yeah, he was playing Spider Guard, and I like leaned over. I was like, "Is that motherfucker playing Spider Guard and Nogi?"
Looked like, yep.
And the other guy just wasn't breaking the grip, and I was like, "Yeah, he just accepted it." He's like, "I guess he's got me." Like, and I was like, "This is the craziest thing." Yeah, this is the craziest thing I've ever fucking seen.
That was hilarious, man. Zane was just moving everywhere. It was cool to see. Like, he has a lot of different approaches in that. What was it? The knee slicer, right? It was like a
it's like it's a calf slicer. I call it a knee compression because it was with his arm, so I call it a knee compression. But I know it's just a calf slicer.
Okay.
I just call the calf slicer the one where your shin's in the back of their knee.
Yeah.
So it's like back and forth. But
there you go. He was like facing him, right?
Yeah. Yep.
Had that bad boy.
Compression.
Yeah, that was cool.
That's
Shout out
good,
to Zane.
Yeah. He's fucking. not a blue belt.
On his way. I know, right?
Yeah.
He's on his way. I mean, as long as I've been training, he's probably been training like, I mean, I remember him as a child and he was on the mat. So like, yeah, I don't think he should be a blue belt, but he's like, what, barely 16?
The age thing? Yeah.
Yeah.
I think I talked to you about it before, but in Arkansas, they brought over these 2 Brazilians and one of them was a blue belt. And the same thing, he just wasn't of age to be ranked up. And like, he kicked every black belt's ass in the gym. And I was like, what the fuck is going on, dude? Like, he was moving better than everyone. And I had watched him spar like 4 people beforehand, and then I sparred with him, and I was like, I am not giving this motherfucker anything. Like, I will use the fact that I am an adult male. Like, I was like, I'm gonna use everything I have on me. So, but yeah, it was funny how he was way more technical than everybody else, and it was just funny because he was like wearing a blue belt and then like fucking up black belts that beat me, and I'm just like, oh god, like,
yeah. Like, let me grab you and just slow you down. Hold on, don't move.
chill, bro.
What do you think about like where jiu-jitsu's been going as far as like the trends? Like, what do you see coming down the pipeline? Because I noticed that, you know, the old school like smash and pass, getting to mount is kind of coming back, and then in between the last time I saw it and now, it's been like daily hiva, barambolos, inverting, all kinds of crazy stuff, leg attacks, and it seems like now it's going back to like smash pass, heavy pressure, you know, at least for like the heavier weight classes, I would say like 170 and up. I've noticed that's a lot of like people's games. What do you think? Like, is that something you see, and where do you see the game going?
Yeah, I think it kind of depends on like whether you're talking gi or no gi.
True.
But
True.
yeah, man, even like certain things have been evolving. Even like ankle locks. Like there's like ultra heavies like pulling guard to ankle lock other ultra heavies, which never would have happened 20 years ago, type of thing.
Yeah.
So no, it's really weird. And then obviously we have all the like. I think it goes through these weird little cycles where like certain gyms will like go through like a cycle of training where they'll super focus legs, and then they'll super focus the back attack, and then they'll super focus pressure passing in the top game that you were talking about. So it's like, it feels like they just go through these like waves of like, right. Oh, I don't think other gyms are doing this. Let's do like a couple month specialization on this. And it's weird seeing like all the bigger, at least the no-gi gyms, like, you know, like New Wave and B Team, they're so big, and then they'll do like their own specialization, and because they're one of the top schools, it'll like top down like spread to the rest of the schools type of thing. Like people like watching and studying, they're like, oh, we could do that for our school, and then they go try it themselves. So
like there's a level of influence.
Yes, 100%. Yeah, and like because the Danaher wave, that was like the heel hook wave, and then like people didn't even understand how to defend outside or inside heel hooks, so people were just getting shit on by them, and then people started learning how to bury the knee line and build and then turn, and now it's like those still work 100%, especially if the person you're fighting doesn't know how to do them. But like then they went into like the back attack wave, and then they went into this whole like them and B Team went into like the scrimmage wrestling where it's just like aggressive wrestling for the back type of. So yeah, it's just, I think it just keeps going through these like flows. I think all the top schools are like racing to figure out what the next like thing is that the other schools aren't doing, and then they can get better at it first, and then by the time all the other schools get built up, they're like, we got to jump to the next area where they don't know, which in essence is like why like some people say like the best UFC or like jiu-jitsu or UFC fighter of all time is Royce, and it's not because Royce would beat up like prime GSP, because he wouldn't, in my mind he wouldn't. It's that for the time, he knew games that everyone else didn't know. And that's what made jiu-jitsu, that's where the whole like the smaller person can beat a bigger person. Because if there's a tiny person that's like a purple belt in jiu-jitsu, and they fight someone that knows no jiu-jitsu, the odds are they're gonna fuck up that person that doesn't know any jiu-jitsu. Because they just know a game that they don't. But we're in the realm of like the competitors and the black belts and all this shit. So we already know jiu-jitsu. So now it's, can as black belts, they develop a game that we don't know, which is, it's a weird like it's a weird concept, but everything evolves and goes through waves. That's one of the cool things about jiu-jitsu is that we're gonna do this shit, at least I am gonna do this shit till the day I die, and I won't know everything the day that I die, and then in 5 years after that, jiu-jitsu will be better. Like
that's wild. Yeah, it's like its own organism, right? It just like keeps evolving and growing and like, just changing a little bit, like the fads and the seasons that it goes through. There's like popular things and a new thing, but all based off of like influence from somebody. Like you can be the next big thing out of nowhere. like what is it, Daisy Fresh, right? They were like
they're
out
big,
of
the wrestlers in
nowhere,
Oklahoma or whatever,
And then boom, like real cool stuff. But like yeah, seeing how you can make your own game and be the best at it, and then if it's like what no other people are doing, you're very specific, you know, against the grain, right?
Yeah, no, I totally agree. Totally agree. What are your thoughts on transgender? No, I'm just kidding. What's your favorite
Which way are they? How do you?
Am I fighting them or am I watching the fight?
Right. Well, if they can transition as good as they can, no, just transition between positions is good.
As genders.
Then
oh my god. What's your favorite takedown?
Man, my favorite takedown that's like flashy, I would have to say, is the fireman carry. I love the fireman carry from like a snap down and like just popping them over, and it's always satisfying whenever like it's pulled off. But I think whenever I told you I was going to do the fireman carry at Grappling Industries once, and it fucked up my shoulder. I think I started guard pulling. But
I was like telling the students, I was like, guys, he said you can do. Everyone watched this, and he failed it, and he was like, yeah. And I was like, don't look at coach.
What happened? Oh no, something happened. Just, I don't know, somebody did something. It wasn't his fault.
Give him some room to breathe.
Let him do it again. Fireman carry, and then I think like what's been slick and effective lately is just that arm drag single.
Yeah, they fucking bread and butter. That's how I feel. Like, I've shown obviously a bunch of takedowns. I've trained quite a bit of judo, and like, if I had to fight somebody that's like super good, the best thing that I could do is aggressively collar or arm drag into a single leg. Like, it's just because it's just so I can like trip them at the same time, and then it's like it's the easiest way to get to the legs where like they're not going to guillotine me because that's what the arm drag did. It helped me not have their arms in front of me, and just like now I'm not like turning on a turning throw. And I love like some of my favorite takedowns like Harai Goshi Uchimata. They're big turning throws, but the second you turn, you expose your back a little bit, and it's like if you fail it, like we actually saw that happen at the Battle of the Grapplers. That one guy, he went for the it's Koshi Gruma, which is like a head and arm throw on fucking Jesse. And Jesse's just like, nope. And he just like fucking picked him up. And I was like, oh.
He ragdolled him?
Screaming. Yeah, just ragdolled him. And I was like, yeah, dude, that's because he turned against a big guy. Now, if he would have hit it, it would have been cool. But it's the downside of like turning throws and shit. So. Yeah, no,
that's what I was going to say too, because, and it's funny you mentioned Jesse. I was going to bring him up because of you mentioned the collar drag, and at Battle
he
of the
did
Grapplers,
it. Yeah, he did it twice.
Dude, he did like the sacrifice, like he fell and yanked that dude. I was
and he kicked the 4 foot. That's the same way I do it. Yep.
I was like, I'm so glad it wasn't me.
Yeah,
my face would have hit really hard.
Yeah, I was like talking shit to the students. I would have cartwheeled out of that. Like, they're like, really? I was like, no, Jesse beat the fuck out of me last time I spotted him. I was like, he's so fucking strong, dude. So
he's game. Shout out to Jesse.
Yeah, he's cool. Oh yeah, do you think they should change any of the rules for kids jiu-jitsu? Like, I feel like the pulling on the head and the triangle and shit like that, like, I feel like that's not, like the purpose of that is like so that they don't hurt their neck. I feel like that's like, they're more malleable than the adults. I feel like I hurt more adults than I do kids. Now, given I'm not pulling on too many triangles when I like, play spar with the kids, but like, do you think that any of the rules should be changed for kids jiu-jitsu, like things that they do have or don't have, or things that should be allowed? Or
it's funny that you bring up the triangle and pulling on the head. That's the first thing I think of, because I tell that to people. Like, I don't understand why they tell kids not to do it and it's bad technique, but they let adults do it and it's bad technique. Like, your triangle's not done right if you got to pull on their head, right? But pulling on their head, I've never in all my years have seen like somebody roll back paralyzed. You know what I mean? Like, it's never been like that. So I think that's a crazy rule that I think it needs to just kind of go away. I wonder about like the omoplata. The reason why I understand the omoplata is illegal is because whenever a kid taps, the kids stand up to celebrate and they just continue to break the shoulder.
That is kind of true. There's a certain submissions that like when it's done,
like unwind.
You guys have to like undo the twister like for a second, where you're like, all right, let me take my hand off your groin now, like, and you're just like, you're awkwardly like trying to like limp out of it. So like another one was when I do triangles on the back, like the rear senkaku. When I do the triangle off the back, I'll tuck my foot under people's hip, and I triangled some dude, and he rolled over my foot, and I choked him unconscious, and I couldn't undo the triangle because he was a big dude, and he rolled on my foot, and I was like, oh! And then like the body weight was like crushing my legs more, like choking him more, and I was like, I'm gonna kill him! Like I was like freaking out, like.
That's a real moment. You're like, you're killing him. He's already dead. Stop.
Yeah, like when you watch like a YouTube video, and then there's some woman screaming in the background, like, oh my god! You're just screaming at the top of her lungs.
What did you do?
Yeah.
I'm trying not to. Like, what's that movie? Grandma's Boy?
Oh, yeah.
Where he walks into the restroom?
Yeah.
I can't stop. We can't go any further in that scene, but.
That's too funny. But yeah. Okay, I can see that though for the omoplata. Like the kid just doesn't realize that you've got to like kind of like let their muscle unwind and like back out of it rather than just like pressing forward. Like, yeah. So I guess I could see that.
And I think kids should do heel hooks. No, I'm just kidding. After what I just said last time.
That's too funny. They can't do straight ankles either, huh?
No, which is like
that one. I feel like
that's right. Like I think that jiu-jitsu is kind of growing in a way where like these moves are becoming like doable for like the lower level, especially with the talent getting as good as it is, and it's going to continue to improve. Excuse me. I don't think there's going to be a ceiling that the lower, like the younger crowd is going to hit. I just think that the talent is going to improve so much that by the time those moves unlock, it's going to take a short time for them to get it. But I do think that kind of robs them from understanding it. I think there's some gyms that are probably teaching that stuff to kids too, and just don't do it yet.
Yeah, I mean, I even noticed that like we were teaching like the main class that one day, and I think I taught the over/under pass and that like dog bar, knee bar, and then like I was like, and then I did the whole like preface thing, like know where you're competing, and you're not supposed to do it as this belt or whatever. And then like we had dudes that were like brand new white belts that were hitting it on people and they're like, dude, it worked great. And then I had to just like like just remember like certain competitions, like if you go to another gym, like lower belts aren't allowed to. You gotta like know the like laws of the land type of thing. And it's just like it's annoying that I have to explain that every time. But obviously I get why we have certain submissions that aren't allowed for certain ranks. But it's such a weird like I don't know, just the whole like no you can't reap until you're here in this position and you're married. Like it's just like it's such a specific like. There's so many caveats every single time something is brought up. It's like, except such and such and such. So
I like grappling industries. They have like it's a little bit like looser to where kids can do like body locks and like they can pull on the head and like what's up, Alex? Good to see you, bro. They can pull on the head and like in the triangle. Head and arm chokes are legal. Like
oh yeah, I remember you talking about that the other day. That makes sense.
Like. And then I'm not trying to like really shout out to like grappling industries, but one really cool thing they did was they put their rules on each table. So then when I was like, hey,
oh, that's nice.
Okay, never mind. There's no arguing.
Yeah.
I can't say anything.
Because I had I don't remember what like organization it was with, but we did a tournament, and I remember reading the rules beforehand, and then the ref called the match on something that like wasn't in the rule book, and I was like, nope, dude, I got the rules right here, and he just like was like, no, and I was like, what the just like, oh, it's right here, like this, I looked it up this morning, did you change it at 2 o'clock, bitch? Like I was so upset at him.
Yes,
like,
we did.
Yeah, I was so fucking but yeah, that's cool, just having the rules like forever posted.
Yeah.
Because I've been to a couple or seen a couple things and just been like very like confused. Like back in Arkansas, I kept doing the electric chair to people because I thought it was funny. And then this Brazilian dude, Bruno, who's awesome, and he's like, Jonathan, like you can't do that in the gi. And I was like, Bruno, I just did it. Of course I can do it in the gi. And he's like, no, IBJJF, you can't. And I was like, not with that attitude, Bruno. Like, but like. Yeah, I guess technically they changed it so that you can't electric chair because it was fucking people's knees in IBJJF. I don't know if it is now. I gotta fucking look it up again.
I think that IBJJF is not going in the right direction. I know that that's an unpopular opinion, and I'm not trying to talk bad about them, but
I am.
I think, you know what I mean? Like I'm not. I just think that a lot of decisions are making like it's. I don't even think it protects their business. Like they raise their money, and I mean, I get it. You're making more money, but. The fact that they got crazy rules like that, and then even for the kids, it's that much more nerfed. I'd much rather have my kids pay a lot less, go to grappling industries that the rules are a little bit more realistic and like you got more things on the board, and then like Yeah, I mean, I think it's the convenience too. I like single elimination, but whenever you got kids like doing it, Grappling Industries is a good tournament whenever you got round robin. But I am a fan of like you don't win, then you're out. But nonetheless, whenever they still compare records, it's still competitive, right?
Yeah. It's true.
I got a question.
Yeah, what's up?
This is like a philosophy I have that I started. I shouldn't say philosophy I have, but something I thought of, or I was curious like what another black belt might think of like on it. But I feel after giving it a lot of thought, where jiu-jitsu is like a lifelong thing. Whenever you really want to get good at it, so like it really doesn't matter what rank you have. And I can even argue with people that have black belts. Like I think that we're all beginners. Like every stage is just a different type of beginner. And even whenever you're the black belt, like how they say it starts over, like now you kind of are like going into another pool where you still are a beginner, and let's see how good you do against the other guys that have been doing it for a while, you know?
Yep.
So like, I love like competitive blue belts, and like I love it whenever I see a competitive blue belt beat like a brown belt, because it's like, to be honest, that can happen any day, and like that really doesn't affect me at all. Like seeing that, but like in the grand scheme of things, whenever it's a couple years of a difference, and like the work ethic can change, you can see like how people can get better or taper off whenever you see them at the next tournament. Like, what do you think? I guess like every rank is a beginner rank, even at black belt. Like until you probably start hitting like some random level of like doing shit with your eyes closed and not even having to think.
Yeah,
you know?
I think I used to say this, and I think it's pretty true. And I think it's the belt is supposed to just be a signifier to me as a coach of your.
You mind sweeping a little bit later, my man? You mind? Just in a little bit. I appreciate you. Sorry for that.
No, you're good. Yeah, I think as a coach, the belt is a signifier of their technical level, not their competitive prowess. Because we could have a 90-year-old dude in here and he could be a black belt, but he could be losing to a white belt that knows how to wrestle, like if they were sparring.
Yeah.
But like as long as he still knew technically the techniques, like he could explain stuff, that's what the belt signifies. So it is weird, at least for me, that's how I think about it. So anytime I see a belt, I'm just like, oh, like that's their like technical knowledge level slash how long they've been training. It's kind of irrelevant to their actual skill level.
Or their ability.
Their ability to do it live in jiu-jitsu.
I
obviously think if you have a black belt, like, and you had to fight some rando on the street that couldn't fight, you should be able to win.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it's like, okay, do you really have a black belt type of
Yeah.
thing? But yeah, I do think it's more of the technique, the technical thing. Because obviously, yeah, there's these crazy like white and blue belts out there that I'm sure could beat both of our asses right now because they've been training and they're fucking juiced up and they got the BAS, they're Brazilian autistic and on steroids.
Or they've been doing that. What kind of training is it again?
Ecological training.
Ecological training.
Yeah. True.
Yeah, no, that makes total sense. Like, and I'm not like knocking anybody or any rank. So I thought about it, and I immediately was like, I want to ask Jonathan that. So I think this is a perfect platform to do that.
Yeah.
It's weird, right? Like we get this like confidence every time, but whenever you look back on it, it's like, man, we're always learning. And there's somewhere on some random scale that we're not familiar with, but we're somewhere where we're just ticking a little bit up at a time as long as you're investing, right?
Yeah.
I think about Jesse from Fast and the Furious whenever he's like super good at building cars and he's very informative and knowledgeable. But then he goes and he races like Tran and it's like too soon, Junior, he can't execute. Yeah. So he loses his dad's car and it's damn, like he didn't have brakes on the front anyway. It was like
so funny.
Movie blooper.
There's two great examples of this. There's one, I can't remember her fucking name right now, but she's like a screaming coach, like for like death metal bands, and she's like the most famous, like, or one of the most famous like coaches that's coached like a lot of the most famous bands, and she technically can't scream really at all, but like, so when she's up on the mic, she's like, which is like what anyone would do. Like they'd make that little tiny rasp. All of her people that she's able to coach can full on belt out like the full on like huge So it's funny that like she has the technical prowess, but she can't perform the.
That's so funny.
Yeah, so it's kind of the same thing. Like where
Yeah.
you could have like an older black belt, or just somebody who's like so knowledgeable, but there's just like physically they're not able to, whether they're injured or they can't do it. Yeah, whatever it may be. So, yeah,
That makes sense.
interesting.
Yeah, right. And like, yeah, that's definitely helps put a perspective on things, right? Because you can always like come in here and just be some young buck that's acting crazy, and then maybe you do something, but like to humble yourself and try to understand how another person's perspective is applied in jiu-jitsu, that's going to truly make you better, right? Not just seeing red and doing ecological jiu-jitsu. I'm not knocking it crazy, but I wouldn't just out here be teaching it unless it's like, all right, everybody already knows the drill. What we did yesterday, we're doing it today, and we're doing it situational, right?
I guess this is kind of a question, but kind of a statement. I think I figured this out a while ago, and I think it's fucking hilarious. But I don't like telling it to students because then they feel like they're like gerbils or like lab rats or whatever. I think whenever I'm teaching, every single time I teach, like every time I teach a technique, I teach it different. So like, let's say on like 1 month, I was like, I taught like a triangle choke. And the next month, the next time somebody asks me how to teach a triangle, I almost always teach it different. And in my head, I'm doing it intentionally. I could teach it the same way every time. I'm doing it differently every single time. And in my head, I'm like trying to figure out like, oh, like when I taught it with this detail rather than this one, they had more or less success. Or is the person I told it to just retarded? And I'm trying to figure out which one it is. But it's funny because every time I teach a class, like I'll be like, oh, this time, and I'll do it in like in like a more serious way where it's like, oh, like for example, like today at lunch I taught like body lock passing, and then I coupled it with rubber guard / the omoplata because it's the counter to the body lock. The last time I taught body lock passing, I taught like 6 different passes, and then I let people spar off the knees. Today I taught the attack and the defense, basically like a counter to both, and then I let people play. And both sides, whether I was on top or bottom, people knew what they were doing from that position, and they were doing a good job. But that's an example of like, the first time I taught the body lock, I didn't do that. The second time I taught it coupled with something else, and it helped. So that was like my scientific, and the next time I teach it, I'm not gonna teach it with rubber guard. I'm gonna teach it with something else, or with rubber guard and something else, and I'll see even then, like today it felt like a success, but I've had days where I teach it and it felt like a failure, you know what I mean?
No, I got you.
So it's almost like the scientific method. Do you think you use that little scientific method, or do you try to repeat the same thing when you teach stuff?
I think I try to improve on how I, like what you're doing, but I try to like, I do try to teach it like different, but like better, right? Like I use a lot of analogies, and then I'll try to explain like how I'm physically doing things, right? So then maybe there's that comparison, and then it sinks a little bit more. But I like how you're approaching it. I think it helps out 2 ways where people can like, you're gonna eventually speak one person's language that might not have heard it taught like that. So then it's like, oh, and then everything clicks. And that's a very like satisfying feeling as a coach where you're like, yes, like I knew you knew it. It just had to be said to you a specific way, right?
Yeah.
And then there's like the people that are like, oh, he didn't show up from the body lock last time. Oh, and then that also clicks too. So
and some students are picking up on it too. From
yeah.
They're like,
show like that?
Well, last time you showed it, you showed this. And I'm like, shut up, Billy. Like, but I'm like, no, you're totally correct. Like last time I did show it with this. This time I'm showing it with this. Don't fucking call me out like that. I just think it's funny because I don't think anyone ever told me that. It's just something that I've done is just like I continuously change it. Like even the way that I teach triangle chokes or whatever it may be, like is totally different from how I used to teach it. And even like how I do them feels different than like a year ago or whatever.
Yeah.
But no, I just thought it was funny that like I keep changing it. So I was wondering if you always changed how you taught stuff too.
No, I do try to, but I try to make it better because I'm always like, dang, I could have done this, or I could have explained that, or this sounds like it's better now that I said it to this one person. I'm gonna coach it like that.
Yes.
So like I do exactly what you're doing. Sometimes it's from a different position, and then I'll explain it. Hey, I'm coming from this position, so it's not like so much making them connect the dots. But I think that that's a really good way because if they're there, they've seen it. but they've seen it from somewhere else and they connect that dot and they bring it up to you, like the brain's working and they're like, they're invested, they're present. So that's cool. Who are your favorite no-gi and gi grapplers, jiu-jitsu guys?
I think in the gi right now, the main, like,
right now and all time.
Fuck. I don't know. Honestly, right now, it feels like Tynan Dalpra is the one I'm taking the most jiu-jitsu from. I could list like 7 people off the top of my head that I've been studying recently, but specifically Tynan recently, like his passing style, his guard style, like just like little things, even how he pulls guard is different than I do it, and I'm just like, why? So, and then his success rate is just stupid high with everything. So he's been one of my favorite no-gi gi grapplers today. In no-gi, man, I don't even know. There's a lot of really good people out there right now. I think watching the Ruotolo brothers has been like fascinating for me, because now I know like both of them have made strides towards MMA and like fucked people up in MMA with their jiu-jitsu, and it's like, that's like the essence of fucking jiu-jitsu, right? Like that's supposed to be what it is. That was like when Damian Maia was like one of the top black belts in regular jiu-jitsu, and then he went to MMA and everyone was like, oh shit, and then he was doing that shit in MMA too, so.
Yeah, dude, there were so many times, like I think he was like fighting for the title, like he probably had like 3 runs maybe, I don't know, maybe I could be wrong, but I was always like wanting that guy to win. I was so biased.
That's the same thing, like, I don't think Charles Oliveira is the best fighter in his weight class. He's my favorite fighter to watch in that weight class though, because he's a submission hunter. And I'm somebody who, to this day, I struggle with positional dominance. Like, if you're a lower belt, I'm gonna get you. But but if you're similar rank to me, like I struggle holding people. I'm good at hunting submissions. I struggle like the positional game. And Charles is another submission hunter. Like it doesn't matter where he is. Like he's like, boom, you touch my leg, guillotine, bitch. Like we're in turtle darts. We're here, boom, we're here, boom. And he's good from everywhere. And that was the other person I was gonna say. Mika Galval is probably one of my other favorite fighters because he's a submission hunter from everywhere. So
he's been on a tear too.
Man, gi and no-gi, like he's something else.
He's been getting after it. I'm going back. I was gonna say Marcelo Garcia.
Yeah.
And then like badass that he like overcame stomach cancer too. That's so crazy.
Yeah.
Then he won a match recently too.
Yep,
it's
dude.
like
I just got one of my last videos copyright struck because of that.
Really?
Because somebody in the comments when I was streaming my studying, and somebody in the comments of the stream asked for a breakdown of the match, and I was like, you want it as a video or you want me to just do it right now? And he's like, do you want to do it now? I was like, yeah, I'll just do it right now. And I pulled up the video because that match is on YouTube from the One Championship. And then literally yesterday, I got an email that was like, it's like, you have a copyright strike against you for this video. And I was like, oh, fuck. Because I guess because One's not like American, they don't follow the same, like the online rules for copyright stuff. I'm new to all this shit, man. So I don't know anything. I'm just like, my bad.
Your mind. Yeah, you as you go.
But no, totally agree. Marcelo was a small guy who fucking... who was taking out giants in no-gi, like not leg locking them too, which is crazy because we had like Lachlan Giles a couple years ago. He was doing K-guard to heel hooks. Everyone started studying K-guard. That's great. He was a big guy small guy beating big guys. That's great. Marcelo was taking people's fucking back and choking them, which is crazy.
As
like
that's dude.
That's so
just
insane.
like feet on the back of the knees, just trying to pull them down. Yeah. And then the other end of the scale, the other weight class is Roger Gracie in the gi, like just the basics. Like I know that I'm very vanilla with that and I talk about it, but I'll never get away from it and like harp on. Maybe I'll get away from it, but I'll never knock the basics. Like an effective basic game, it's like beautiful. I mean, like Jesse Board, man, he was like out there. He was trying to get like that Kimura with that guy in turtle, and that shit looked pretty wild. That was cool.
One?
Yeah, it was pretty cool. But then eventually he just got that Americana and just finished it, you know, like those basic things, like sometimes just working where it's efficient and it's just there, it's like hard. It's hard to, you know, like it's hard to reinvent the wheel sometimes. And it seems like Roger just has that X choke down and just has like that game of like, you're not breaking his guard. You know?
I want, this can sound sexual, I want him to mount me and I want to feel like, how is he holding mount? Because against other black belts, if I'm burning them and I'm cooking them, I feel like I can get cross collars from mount, but it feels like he's able to get to mount and just force it. Like, I feel like I get there and then I play this little dancing game with people where I'm like, are you gonna let me cross collar you or armbar you? Which one is it, motherfucker?
Yeah.
It looks like he gets there against world champions who are also on steroids, and then he's just like, I'm cross collar choking you.
Yeah.
And he just, so I want to eventually be on the mat with him and have him mount me and me do like a, 30% resistance escape. And I want to feel what he's doing, because he's doing something that, whether he said it online or not, I haven't figured out what it is, but sometimes just rolling with them, you can feel that's the whole thing we were talking about earlier. I want to steal that expertise thing from him that I'd never pick up from ecological training.
Sometimes you got to feel it.
Yeah, sometimes you just got to feel it to figure out what the fuck's going on. So, no, but I totally agree. He's a hard person to argue. Obviously, you got like Gordon Ryan and whatnot to argue for the GOAT. But
of course.
But Hodger's
and the fact that he calls out how he's going to submit people too, it's kind of it's kind of hard to not like him. He's kind of like everybody's favorite in a way. It's just hard to deny how good he is, right? Super dynamic.
Yeah, at
explosive.
Purple we bought like 4 of his instructionals, and like to this day, I've been teaching people it for like weeks now with the leg lock stuff, and they're not even close to being caught up to where I am on the leg lock stuff. And this was from stuff I learned years ago, and it's just like stuff that they didn't know, but Gordon knew it back then, and he pulled it out as a video. So it's just like it is crazy how knowledgeable some people are like that. So
that's wild, man.
Yeah. I mean, I personally know your answer, but I'm curious to hear your description of it. What's your preference, gi or no gi, and why?
I like the gi because the grips. You got like more. It's like more combinations to pay attention to on offense and defense. And I mean, I shouldn't say on defense and like compare defense and no-gi, because I do feel like a good no-gi, somebody attacking me is going to give me just as hard of a time. But like having like a more intricate setup with extra grips, like a lapel to go around something, to build some leverage somewhere else, to make the game just with that many more variables. The more that I'm saying it, it sounds weird because I'm not one to like, let's add more and more and more, and then like see what happens. I'm like I said about like my attack's super basic, but I like the leverage that you can build with like some grips with the lapels, grabbing behind the triceps, getting some setups for judo, things like that. It's very fun to like have like extra leverage build up, and then like I'm doing all these like motions of things that I know in the gi, just because it's so many more options in my mind, but. Maybe like and again, just to play like the opposing side of it, like no-gi is awesome, and like you can find different ways to be effective, and I do think there's still things to unlock to like that people are not thinking about, that people never seen before. I just think with the extra lapels and the extra grips, now it's like exponentially more things to unlock.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah. Oh no, I agree. And I said it like even just like a week ago when people were talking about gi versus no gi. I think I showed how to do the rear naked choke to fundamentals and the collar choke, and I was like, but in the gi, I'm always gonna collar choke because it's just available. And then I was like, and if you guys are anti-gi, think of it like this. Anytime you see the movies and somebody chokes somebody with something else, like not with their hands, like they have a third party item, I think that if you train in the gi, naturally, like if you're good at gi jiu-jitsu, naturally, you could use an item like a belt or some shit. If you had to choke somebody in the streets, we would understand leverage with the item better than the person who doesn't train that. Because I could pull my own lapel out, wrap the neck, Ezekiel him with the lapel, wrap it on the neck, throw a Peruvian necktie with the lapel. Most people that don't train the gi have no fucking clue what I just said. Yeah. So it's like, I could take any random item or like my jacket collar, you know what I mean? And just like actually choke. So yeah, I think that's my main, like, that's more the movie like stuff but we're working the streets because we do it here and every day with resistance. So no, I think that's funny though.
I think that's a very true thing. Like making sure that there's some thought behind everything that we're doing that has some logic is going to go a long way. Of course, if you're just going blindly through stuff, then you see it all the time. Like I'm always like I love like my teammates, and we went over it this weekend, so I'm not gonna like go more into it. But there is this scenario of like, hey, having a game plan and going into something, or letting something happen whenever you go into it.
Yeah.
So then like, you know, now you got your tools, you can use them, or even if you don't have your tools, but having a game plan is gonna make that like successful or potentially not. And I prefer the gi more. The game plan I think is very doable whenever you can get a grip versus fighting for all that, you know?
Yeah.
So.
I agree. I think the only other thing with that is like I love the heel hook game. Like I love the like how in depth it is. So I like the fact that like if I know it and someone else doesn't know it, I'm gonna crush them for that reason. But for the same token, I love Spider, Lasso. I love the gi version of De La Hiva. Like and all those are totally different than the no gi stuff. So I like that for the specifics.
I like that.
So what do you think about grip in jiu-jitsu? Because here I have a bag of vibrate. No, I'm just kidding. I have I have a bag of these grip things that I bought a long time ago, and I wanted to see which ones you could do. Do you think jiu-jitsu helps you with your grip?
I think so. I read this thing. I shouldn't say I read this thing. I was watching YouTube. All right, trying to sound smart.
I was pooping on the toilet and I saw this thing on Instagram.
I was watching this article and I'm gonna say that from now on.
I'm watching an article.
I was watching this article and they were saying that by the time 2040 hits, humans aren't going to have the ability to open up pickle jars because
we will though.
We
will. That's
I was
crazy.
Like, not everybody's not. I'm going to be opening some.
I'm going to be their daddy now.
Yeah, exactly. Open up some pickles.
For sure. That's so funny.
So yeah,
that's too funny.
Let's see what do we got.
Okay, so this is the 50-pound. These are very, very strong. I don't even think I can close the third one. Like, because in theory, the way that these work is like if you can click them or touch one end to the other, that means you've like beaten that level,
that grip
type of thing. Yeah, but technically, even the ones that you can't close, you could get a workout with them because it's like working out the ending. Yeah. But anyways, I wanted to see how you fared with these. So this is the 50-pound one. You can do it like that, or you can flip it upside down. Oh. Yeah, between the knees. Like, okay, guys, this is Kegels for jiu-jitsu.
Okay.
So 50's not bad.
I was worried that I wasn't gonna get it.
The girl one.
Yeah, I was like, God, these guys.
Yeah,
I'm technical, guys.
It's like, fuck guys.
I can teach it. I can't do it. Too soon. Jim.
Ecological training. That's so funny. Yeah, so I can close the pink one.
Oh my God, you scared me. What's up, man?
Hello.
All right, let's get this down.
Move
over just a little bit. Just a little bit. So we got the 100-pounder?
Or
should I invite him in? They're gonna see me like push a kid out of the screen. Oh wow, he's not really a fun coach. Good to see you, Oliver. Can't have kids in it. That's all. That's the reason.
Oh dang, he's got it like that, huh? Yeah. So the 100's not too bad. Silver.
100-pounder.
Now we're up to 150.
150. Let's see.
Tree 50 is 150. Yeah, you got it.
Did I?
Yeah,
I did it like once.
You did it once?
I did it once. I tried to do it again.
I'm cramping.
I did it.
Yeah, I don't even remember if I can do 150s. Yeah. What's funny is I've said this before on my channel, but because of my injury before I had the fight against Francisco Lowe and then the other guy, it hurts to squeeze my hand because it crushes my fingers together. So it hurts to, even that hurt. Like I got it closed, but that even hurt my hand.
Dang.
But that was a 150. I ended up being able to do it with my right hand still. This is 200 now. I think this is the one that I struggle with. It's about halfway. It's pretty there. No.
I was about to say, you're 15 years younger than me. I don't know how old.
No,
you're
I can't.
25?
I swear it almost touched. 25. I'm like 29.
29? I don't know why. You just always 20. You stayed 25 in my mind.
Okay, well, we failed at red, and there's still 2 more levels. So we're going to see what happened. This is 250. We got about halfway. I think I was a little bit more than half with the red. But this is 250. I'm going to close it. That's so wild that, like, oh my gosh.
Like an inch in between.
Yeah, and then I saw a dude on.
That was 250?
That was 250. This is 300.
Oh, okay.
So I saw a dude on YouTube when he was messing with these, and I bought these because I wanted to get some grip stuff that had like varying levels to try to improve. And I saw a dude on YouTube, and he clicked this thing like 20 times in a row, like the 300,
Dang.
like just like looking at the camera, just like clicking it, and I was like, what the heck? So 300.
All right, here we go. Look at the camera and just click it.
Yeah. It moved like a centipede.
I think I bit my tongue.
I think I shit my pants. Oh my God, dude. Like nothing, man. Like it moves like a little
Barely.
bit. That's like not even the part where there's resistance, though. It like moves where there's no resistance.
That's what's up,
That's
man.
funny as heck. But yeah, man. I think that's all. Unless you have any last second things.
No, man. I'm. If you're ever up for doing it again, I'm always up for it. I really appreciate you. Looking forward to knocking out this kids class and getting some jiu-jitsu in tonight with you, brother.
Of course, man.
It's always fun. If there's anybody out there in San Antonio, man, you guys want to come on out and train, like we got Ohanas all over the place, and we're always holding it down on the west side of San Antonio at Ohana West. So you guys are always welcome. Love to see you guys out here.
Until next time, guys. Let's get it.
Thanks, man.
100%, brother. Thank you.
Of course.